Over the Honourable Kieran McAnulty.
Point of order, sir.
A point of order. Kieran McAnulty.
Thank you very much. Mr Speaker, this question was originally submitted to the Associate Minister of Housing for Social Housing and was transferred to the Minister of Housing. Now, we absolutely accept that that is a right of the government to do so, but when looking at Speaker's rulings, it's our position that in this instance it should not have been allowed to be. The question, as was originally submitted, was does he stand by his statement?
Look, you've said enough.
Well, I think, sir, I have.
You're trying to make a case that's already been made in the clerk's office, and I have agreed that the transfer is quite reasonable.
For speaking to that, sir, you have asked us on a couple of occasions now to come to you with points of orders quoting Speaker's rulings. I'd like the opportunity to do that.
Well, you're welcome, but it won't be now. You can come and see me later. Let's go ahead with the question.
We're not asking.
Not asking a question, fair enough. Question 7, the name of Suze Redmayne. Point of order.
I seek leave to read out the question from the Honourable Kieran McAnulty to myself so I can answer this very important question about the government's outstanding record of getting 1,000 kids out of emergency housing, motels and into homes.
Speaking to that point of order, sir.
Doesn't particularly help order. He sought leave, actually, so I've got to put leave. Leave is sought. Is there any objection? Yes. Okay.
Point of order.
Point of order.
Mr Speaker, I respect that. I do feel, though, that by not having, and I've just been called a wimp.
Well,
now,
okay.
Sir,
that sort of across the house stuff has got to stop. It's no good people coming moaning to me about the way people are being spoken to if they are then adding to it during the proceedings.
Sir, I do believe, with respect, that if I was given the opportunity to point out Speaker's rulings and why in this instance I believe an error has been made, then disorderly conduct like that would have been avoided.
Yes, I know, but you could also argue that given that there is a process before a question ever gets here and there is a decision made about the validity of a transfer, that you were actually questioning the decision made by the Chair through the clerk's office.
I accept that, and so I thought about this carefully, and I'd like to think that in my interactions with you, you consider that we do so in a respectful manner. But in this instance, there are two Speaker's rulings which give clear criteria on which a question that has been transferred could be disallowed, and it is our genuine position that in this instance that criteria has been met. And having the opportunity to put that to you for your consideration, given that it is the House that is, as a result of this decision, not got the opportunity to ask the Minister who made the statement whether he stands by that, I'm simply requesting that I be able to make that case.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll save a whole lot of mucking around and rumptying if you can do it relatively quickly. That
Certainly
would be helpful.
I'll do my best, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Speaker's rulings 17151 make it clear, and this is not in dispute, that a government has a right to transfer a question. However, not in any way that it obstructs the answer. When the question intended to ask a minister to stand by a statement that he had made, that and then be that transferred, there is no possible way that another minister can answer that question. I accept, however, that the second leg does ask around the issue of funding for houses. However, the answer to that is contingent on the answer to the first part of the question. It says, and if so, then carries on. Now, Speaker's rulings 17211, again, make it clear that it is the government's right, and that is not in dispute. However, it does say that if the minister being questioned could be the only person who had particular information and the question was transferred to make it not possible to obtain that information, then, quote, I would have real concerns. There's no possible way that another minister could answer the question that was posed. It does go on, sir, to the second point. Opinions about whether people stand by certain statements are hardly matters that reach the disallowing the transfer. I accept that. But the question was not asking the opinion of a certain statement. It was asking the minister to stand by his own statement. And in fact, by the clerk's office rewriting it so that it became relevant to the transferred minister, it is now asking for the opinion of that minister on a certain statement. So there's a contradiction there, sir, and that's why, on that basis, that I believe the wrong judgment has been made here.
Well, thank you for letting me know that the wrong judgment has been made. Yes, just a minute, I'll come to you. The Honourable Chris Bishop.
Well, the government has the right to transfer questions to whoever they see fit. We have done that.
That's not being disputed.
The reason we have done this is, as Mr McAnulty even points out in his point of order, which is that the second part of the question is what I am responsible for as the Minister of Housing. So that is why we have chosen to transfer it. If the member had asked the Honourable Tama Potaka as Associate Minister, does he stand by his statement that he made as the Associate Minister, that's not in dispute, and left it there, well, that's fine. It wouldn't have been transferred, highly likely. But that's not what he asked. He asked two completely separate, related but separate issues. In the one question, the government felt it best that I answer those. In fact, the government felt it best that I answer that question. Therefore, we've transferred it. Very happy to answer the question and account for it.
Speaking to that point of order.
Okay, this is going on a bit, but this is the last comment I'll take on it.
That again was acknowledged. But the point is, the way the question was asked, in the middle, it says, and if so. If the second part of the question was asked at the start, I would not have any case. But the second part of the question cannot be answered unless the first part of the question is answered first. It is, if the Minister agrees or stands by that statement, then what does he think about this? He can't answer the second part without giving a response to the first, and there's no possible way that Minister Bishop can answer that question when it's asking Minister Potaka if he stands by a statement that Minister Potaka made himself.
Well, only in so much as an Associate Minister speaks for the Minister, in fact. Look, the general principle here is that if the House is unimpeded in getting an answer, then the transfer should be allowed. It would only be if there was very specific knowledge, and that's the case you're making. But the clerk's office also, before they come to talk to me about these things, do have to assess also what is the substance of the question. The substance of the question is clearly the second part. So that's why the transfer is allowed. But I'll tell you what, I'm very keen on there being some degree of harmony around all these things. So rather than you going ahead today, why don't you keep this question up your sleeve and have an extra one tomorrow? No, sorry. No, there's no point of order here. That's a ruling. That's right.
But because he can't be bothered asking me the question,
Mr. Bishop,
you're going to give him a freebie tomorrow.
Bishop, this is a point of disorder, if you want my view.
Why do they get a freebie? Because he can't be bothered answering the question.
Mr. Bishop, I've made a ruling. I'm not changing it. We'll come now to question.